Happy quarantine day 30 something. My name is Doug. Welcome to the channel. I'm very happy that you guys decided to stop by today. We're going to be listening to Thundercat's new album. It is what it is. 37 minutes long, 15 tracks. Not mad at that. I think that that's a really solid length for an album. I'm expecting some awesome vibes, some really funky, groovy tracks to kind of dissect a little bit, you know, production-wise, and kind of get lost in these instrumentals. Thundercat's got so much talent, you know, in terms of his musicality and his artistry, and so this is going to be an interesting listen, and I'm very glad that you guys decided to listen to it with me. So with that said, I'm not going to waste your time with an introduction. Get your submissions in for putting y'all on April 15th. That's the deadline, and keep an eye on the community page, because I'm also going to be letting you guys know when the next Type Beat Reactions video is going to be. So just keep an eye on all that, support the channel however you see fit, and let's get into it. The first track is called Lost in Space / Great Scott / 2226. So let's get it. It is what it is. Some very jazzy chords, loving the bass riffs, of course. So the track is called Lost in Space, and some of the things that he says in the track are, "Can anybody hear me? Please pray for me. Let me know if someone is out there." And so I'm assuming this is about feeling alone, feeling isolated, which is kind of funny because we're all in quarantine. Haha. Yeah, I just think that the vibe to it, you know, the musicality to it is phenomenal. All the instruments mesh so well together. The groovy bass lines and the glissando keys, you know, the electric keys, they sound so cool. They also sound very spacey and atmospheric, which kind of makes sense with the title of the track. And I think it's a really interesting introduction to the project. Yeah, just kind of setting that tone, that laid back, like relaxed tone, and super sweet intro. Next track is Interstellar Love, which is like another kind of space theme, I guess. Yo, that bass riff is crazy, bro. Let's go. Hey, that swing is crazy. Oh, that descending riff, so sweet. Oh, I love it. Yo, that's incredible music, man. It sounds like just a bunch of friends just jamming together, you know what I mean? But from the insane bass lines, those descending riffs that I'm assuming it's Thundercat playing, the super groovy drum patterns, man, just super crazy and syncopated. It's got that crazy swing to it that I absolutely adore. The keys fit really well together, and when they bring in that saxophone, it just really tops everything off. It's got a super fun, fast-paced, kind of jazzy feel to it, you know? Oh man, the musicality there, the instrumentals there are absolutely brilliant. I had to add it to my playlist because that's gotta be a blast to listen to when you're doing anything. That will make any like mundane chore that you're doing ridiculously fun if you're listening to it. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that. That's crazy. Next track is I Love Louis Cole, or is it Louis Cole? I might be pronouncing that wrong. Yo. Yo, the hats! Yo, those hats are crazy fast, bro. What is that? 32nd notes, 16th notes, but with a really high tempo? What is that? That's crazy. I've determined that they are indeed 16th notes, and the tempo is just crazy. Super fast-paced, energetic drum patterns. Loving the smooth background vocals, kind of giving us this like these warm layers of vocals to encompass the rest of the tracks. You know, the smooth falsetto main vocals are super sweet. But in contrast to like the sweetness of those vocals is just this crazy, fast, groovy drum pattern. It's great. I don't think that's like programmed on a drum either. I think that that's actually someone playing, and that's, I mean, kudos, bro. Kudos. I'm gonna take a page out of Fantano's book, and I'm gonna have to mention those soaring strings in the background to give this almost like a movie score feel, you know, this super emphatic and triumphant strings in the background. But paired that with the incredible bass lines, and especially that bass solo towards the end of the track, the super fast-paced drum pattern, and the super sweet, I say super a lot, but the very sweet falsetto vocals that we're getting on this track. I mean, this is a beautiful song. I'm gonna say it's not for everybody because I remember Terrell from the Mallory Bros saying on the Weekend album that, you know, the more fast-paced tracks aren't really his lane. So it's not gonna be for everybody, but I think that there are things to appreciate here, even if this song isn't necessarily for you. There's a lot of things done well here. So yeah, I can totally understand the people that aren't really gonna rock with it because it is a different style and it is very fast-paced. But I personally thoroughly enjoyed that. Next track is Black Qualls featuring Steve Lacy, Steve Arrington, and Childish Gambino. This should be interesting. Yo, the soul is crazy. Hey! Like, listening to this actually makes me kind of want to sample it, you know, in my next beat or something like that. It's got that really soulful vibe to it. This portion right here is a little weak. This is better. Those Gambino vocals. Yeah, it's got a really super warm, like fuzzy, soulful 70s feeling almost. Those background vocals are great. I love Childish Gambino's participation on this. I think his vocals fit extremely well on this track. Some of the portions, I felt like the instrumentals were a little weak, especially during that portion right before Childish Gambino comes in. But I think that when the bass line, forgive all the noise outside, when the bass line really starts playing off of the guitars and we get that really cool, like funky groove right before Gambino's portion, it really picks back up again. So even the middle portion that I thought was a little weaker isn't extremely disappointing because we're so strong on either side of that I still feel like this track is extremely enjoyable. I added it to my playlist, and I don't even feel a need to skip that portion that I thought was a little more boring because you know, it really doesn't detract from the track in any way because all the other parts of it are so strong. Wow, they really decided to just blow everything up outside. Are you victim blaming right now? I'm the victim here. Are you blaming the victim?
Sim. Vítima burra.
So yeah, I like that track. Next track is Miguel's Happy... I almost said Miguel's Happy Place. Miguel's Happy Dance. I think the bass line's really strong, and I'm liking the synths, but I don't really like the way that the drums sound. I don't like the sound choice there. You know what I mean? That snare is not doing it for me. I think the hats aren't really great either. So the drums are a little distracting, and also some of the other instruments are a little distracting as well. I think this would have sounded a little better with some different sounds for the drums and a little bit more of an emphasis on those synths, and the bass line's fine the way that it is, you know? Yeah, not the strongest track. Like I said, I didn't agree with some of the sound choices there, some of the arrangements. It's not a terrible song, you know. I probably would skip it. I don't know. I don't really feel like this one is as good as some of the other ones. Next track is Houseway, which is hilarious that he named it that. Could these riffs be any crazier? Yo! That little lead is great. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, this almost sounds like something you would hear on a Sonic the Hedgehog video game, you know? Just super fast-paced, crazy riffs, especially with that little, like, almost 8-bit sounding lead. It does kind of sound like it's off of an old video game, but it's kind of fun little vibe to it, you know? It's a little instrumental interlude, kind of. I think it's cool. Next track is Funny Thing. Fun little dance track. It's got some really cool synths and leads going on. The bass line's really groovy. It's relatively simple in comparison to some of these other songs, but you know, this has got a really basic 4-on-the-floor drum pattern as well. It's just got a really fun little, you know, dance vibe to it. The vocals are super sweet, you know, very nice and smooth, falsetto. It's a cool song. It's a really cool track. Next track is Overseas featuring Zach Fox. You really blow my mind. essa avó. Benção, vovó.
I'm gonna ask that I don't have to sit here until Moscow for about a shiny black man up there in first class getting some sloppy toppy.
So that's it's a funny little outro to the track, you know, basically talking about taking your loved one and traveling, seeing the world, going around the world with them, and it's just a really cool little, you know, fun, cute little song. You know, I like it well enough. It's kind of like an interlude though. It's like 1:30 long, so you know, it is what it is, pun intended. But it's a cool track. Next track is Dragonball Do-Rag.
Baby girl, how do I look in my do-rag? I'ma keep on all my chains when I'm making love to you. Baby girl, how do I look in my do-rag? Covered in cat hair, but I still smell good. Baby, let me know.
This is a funny little, you know, R&B track. Basically, the guy's asking this girl if she likes the way he looks with his do-rag on, if it's okay if he doesn't take his chains off before they have sex, and basically asking whether or not it feels good, whether he's doing it right. It's a really funny track. It's got some really cool little clever lines littered throughout it, super sweet vocals, really interesting instrumentals. You know, it's not as fast-paced, and it's definitely not as riff-heavy as some of these other tracks. It's got more of a consistent vibe to it. It's a really, you know, smooth track. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds cool. And I think that some of those lyrics, like I said, are really funny, and they're really one of the better parts of this track. You know, it's one of the more interesting portions of the track. It's really fun to dissect them and hear what he's saying and kind of laugh at them. And like I mentioned during the song, the sense of humor that's kind of been displayed throughout this project is just really funny, in my opinion. Next track is How I Feel. I like the piano. It's a minute long. It kind of sounds like it's setting up the next track, which is King of the Hill. It's almost like an interlude / build up for that track. You know, it's got the really cool little bells and the cool keys, smooth bass line, and just some vocals in the background to keep us interested. And like I said, it feels like it's building up towards track 11. So we're gonna hear what that sounds like. It's called King of the Hill. He did a great job of making a lot of these instrumentals sound like they were actually recorded onto, you know, a vinyl. That it's got that like crunchy sound to it, you know, that really old school feel to it. All the drum sounds, the instruments all sound like they were being played on a vinyl. You know, it sounds really cool. It sounds vintage.
I've seen a lot of wasting his time, chasing thrills. King in his castle.
So track 10 wasn't really building up into a very climactic track 11, because track 11 was also really smooth. You know, I like it. It's easy to get lost in those instrumentals. The really soft harmonies, you know, the king in his castle, the king of the hill, you know, they sound great, but they're very easy to get lost in. They're so dreamy and soothing, you know what I mean? There's like a little melodic, almost sounds like a lullaby melody playing in the keys, those really cool cinematic strings that came in towards the end. All of it is just so easy to get lost in and kind of vibe to. So I like it, but it was a little anticlimactic because I thought that track 10 was going to build up into something really intense on track 11, and that really just wasn't the case. But that's kind of my fault, I guess. I don't know. Track 12 is Unrequited Love. Bass lines are absolutely a highlight of the project. This is that slow music. I love that. It's really great R&B vibes, super slow track, very moody, very intimate. You know, that's a special track off the project. I made it onto my playlist because that's one of my favorites. I'm loving those vocals. I'm loving the really smooth bass line. Those strings in the background are fantastic. One of the better vibes off of this project for sure. Fair Chance featuring Ty Dolla $ign and Lil B. Let's go. Love the guitars that just came in. That's sweet, man. Hey.
Never be the same again. Everything. Now we just reminiscing. Only God knows. And but who can say that?
I like that Lil B knows he's not the best singer, and so he decided to keep his performance extremely low key, singing at a very low octave, barely giving any effort, just to kind of keep us in that lulled, relaxed state, and not really trying to overdo too much. You know what I mean? Not trying to outdo anybody else on the track. He's just doing enough and giving us, you know, something really relaxing, something really smooth. I like it. I'm not mad at that. Yeah, that's my favorite song. That's my favorite song right there. I love that. Absolutely love that track. Ty Dolla $ign is probably the best feature. Besides Childish Gambino, I'm struggling to find out now. Remember which one is my favorite. I'm pretty sure though I like Ty Dolla's feature better than Childish Gambino. That's a great song though. Honestly, legit, that's my favorite. That's my favorite off the project for sure. You know, needless to say, I added it to my playlist. Next track is Existential Dread. It's a smooth little interlude. I like Existential Dread. I think it's a great little interlude that leads us into the final track called It Is What It Is featuring Pedro Martins. You know, it's a smooth little interlude, nothing too crazy, nothing too special, but it's nice.
And the magic starts to fade when it all comes. After all this broken heart, sometimes there's regret.
Wow, switching up the rhythm again. Phenomenal song to close us out. Super mellow and relaxing and soothing in the beginning, and at about the halfway mark, you know, an instrumental portion begins and it just builds on top of itself with layer upon layer of, you know, instruments, and then harmonies and counter melodies and strings and the drums, and then the drums get faster and faster paced, and it's just a really brilliant, you know, arrangement to play us out, and it kind of fades out for a minute towards the end, and I just think that it's a really nice way to conclude the project. So it is what it is, man. Absolutely a phenomenal project. I think that it's brilliantly curated. You know, there's so many different vibes on here, from R&B to soul to funk to, you know, just these groovy vibes. We get some funny lines, you know, some funnier tracks, some really cool interludes and relaxing, soothing sounds, really fast-paced drums with some really cool bass riffs, brilliant instrumentals and musicality throughout the entire thing. Some beautiful songs on here as well. Excellent features. You know, everything about this is just really, really cool. I didn't always agree necessarily with the sound choices, you know, but for the most part, I thoroughly enjoyed the project, and I think that it's just such an interesting listen. You know, for sure, if you haven't heard this, give it a listen, because some of these instrumentals are just absolutely fantastic. I love the old school feel to it. I love the way that this was put together, even the track list and the order of these songs. You know, it's really interesting all the way throughout. So yeah, definitely give this a listen. It doesn't get boring or anything like that. One of the better projects of the year for sure. And yeah, those are my thoughts. That's the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you decide to stick around and support the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so. Comment on the video, like, share, all that. Become a patron, check out the tiers, the rewards, see if it's worth your while. If you don't want to do that because you have to access another website, there's the membership option on YouTube. And yeah, just support the channel however you see fit. I'm very thankful for all of the support that you guys give, the motivation, the positive comments. You know, I'm super thankful for all of them. So I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget, putting y'all on April 15th. Keep an eye on the community page. And I will be back in another video very soon. So until then, stay safe, stay at home, wash your hands. Wishing you guys all the best. Peace out.